I highly recommend spending time in the ring, either shadow boxing or sparring. You'll find you can work a heavy bag, for example, quite intensely and for maybe long periods of time without gassing. Once you're in the ring with someone, it can be a completely different experience. And jumping rope, while it's fantastic for building stamina, for helping you stay light on the toes and balls of your feet, I find nothing compares with actual sparring experience. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just got finished a relatively fast 15-minute run, and now I'm just taking a cool down walk. Thought it'd be a great opportunity to get on the camera and address a question that I received from a viewer recently, and this is one that I've received several times. A viewer asked, is jumping rope the best form of exercise to prepare for boxing? I would argue that it's not. I love jumping rope. It's a fantastic conditioning exercise, and there are numerous benefits associated with it. Plus, it's simply fun. But if you're preparing for boxing, hands down, I believe sparring is the best form of conditioning to prepare yourself for more sparring or fighting. The boxing club that I used to be a member of, and several other boxing clubs that I would have visited, jumping rope was used as a form of warm-up or even a cool down activity. Typically, a boxer might jump rope for 10-15 minutes to warm up. But when you're in a ring and you're sparring, the movement patterns are much different. You're moving forwards and backwards, from side to side, and simply getting in the ring. If you're with someone, you're fighting someone, you're sparring someone, all too often it's easy to tense up. I remember the very first time I sparred. Fortunately, I was in the ring with a veteran who had no ego, and he was simply there to help me learn from the sparring session. At that time, in terms of fitness, I felt incredibly fit. I could perform hundreds of double unders in a row, for example. I had completed marathons, but sparring was a completely different ball game. The fact that you can tense up if you're not used to being in the ring with someone can cause you to expend energy. Just one sec here. It can cause you to expend energy unnecessarily, and it can disrupt your breathing pattern. Once you become tense, you might find that you hold your breath, you might breathe harder. So when I was in when I was in the ring the very first time sparring, and mind you, as I said, I was extremely fit in many senses of the word, but not boxing fit. I had trained on heavy bags and speed bags a lot, and I felt incredibly strong, incredibly fit, fast, agile. But getting in the ring, it's a completely different experience. As I said, you're moving backwards, you're moving from side to side, you're using your legs a little bit differently, and you almost have to turn off your mind from thinking too much, overthinking, which can also expend energy. So while jumping rope is fantastic for building stamina, running is fantastic for boxing, using heavy bags and stuff like that, but I believe nothing compares to actually getting in the ring and sparring, or even simply shadow boxing. Shadow boxing and moving around the ring as if there were an opponent in there with you. So when I was in that ring the very first time, this veteran, I gassed way too soon, and he could have taken liberty. He could have punched me, attacked me, and really put me in trouble. But he had no ego, and those are the types of people, if you're new to boxing, that you want to spar with. You want to be in the ring with someone who has nothing to prove. They're there to help you, and vice versa. Yes, there is a time for tough sparring sessions, but if you're new to boxing and you need to build up your boxing IQ and your boxing stamina, spar with people who have your benefit at heart. They're there to help you, you're there to help them. And maybe later on as you progress, you can step up the intensity. So for boxing, I highly recommend spending time in the ring, either shadow boxing or sparring. You'll find you can work a heavy bag, for example, quite intensely and for maybe long periods of time without gassing. Once you're in the ring with someone, it can be a completely different experience. And jumping rope, while it's fantastic for building stamina, for helping you stay light on the toes and balls of your feet, I find nothing compares with actual sparring experience. So as I said, the boxing club that I was a member at and other ones I visited, jumping rope, we did it for about 10-15 minutes before jumping rope. Well, actually first we walked on a treadmill for about 10 minutes and then sometimes jogged for 5 or 10 minutes. Then maybe loosen up our ankles, our bodies a little bit before jumping rope for 10 to 15 minutes. And then at the end of a session, sometimes people got back on the jump rope. And in the actual boxing club, the jump rope, we weren't using it to perform tricks. It was mostly just used for using the basic boxer skip basically. And just practicing controlling our breath. So there you are. I hope that is of some benefit.